Took the win in our first semi-final of the day, but now it's time to find out who will be joining them in the grand finals this weekend. And this time, it's the tale of David versus Goliath as the underdogs of TeamOne clash with the juggernauts of Liquid. It's going to be a spectacular one to round out the day. And of course, I couldn't do it without my lovely panel of Maui, Snake, and Christine. And Christine, I didn't think my heart could be racing anymore after that first game, but maybe coming into this, it could have the potential.
Maybe you're right. I mean, this no fear underdog style and storyline coming out of TeamOne, they're absolutely able to translate that into the server. They have no fear. They're not shying away, and they're hitting their shots. Now, they don't have the protocol, they don't have the depth because they haven't been a team for quite as long as some of the top NA squads that we have here in North America, but they're absolutely showing up. The eye test, they're passing it in full swing. So they're impressive. They're an impressive young squad to watch.
Well, and of course, as always, we want to hear what you guys are saying down in the chat. Make sure you're getting your votes in. If you're going with Liquid, put hashtag Liquid in the chat. But if you're siding for the underdogs on this one, put in hashtag TeamOne. And we'll, of course, be recapping your predictions to see which way you guys are leaning. But I think we need to start off this show by speaking a little bit more about Liquid. And I feel like you can't talk about Liquid without talking about the new star of Grim. I feel like Connor puts it perfectly. For everything that's come out of this online period of CS, he really is the star. And I feel like Maui, he hasn't even given us all yet.
I mean, he's had a hot start, though, and I hope we see more of him here just popping off. TeamOne is the exact kind of fight that Grim would love to get here. But as we see here, Twist, I mean, now there is just so much raw skill on this Liquid lineup. It's hard to argue there's any team in the world, actually, that has as raw skill, at least online, more so than Liquid. And Grim had a highlight there as well. I mean, I don't know where to go. If you're playing against this team, what bomb site are you supposed to attack? Do you want to fight against a Legion Twist, who are just monsters in their own right, some of the best aimers North America has seen? Or do you want to face the young gun Grim, who's a beast online? One of the, I mean, Steele described him the other day in the pre-show that he is a human aimbot. How are you supposed to beat that?
Yeah, I don't know which side I would rather be choosing at least, but I feel like, I think it was, I can't remember exactly which matchup it was after, but we actually got to speak to Grim. And, you know, he was talking about actually the preparation that comes in with Liquid. He's not even really used to, you know, doing those VOD reviews, really practicing and prepping before games. So I feel like, Christine, we may not have even seen the peak of Grim yet.
I think you're right, Freya. I mean, even Grim mentioned that he's playing B on Mirage now. That's a brand new site for him. He's starting to learn things. His teammates are giving him some tips and pointers. And, you know, right now, Grim, he's set up fully for success. He's got great teammates in Stewie, a great leader in Stewie, a new coach in Moses. So he's got all the resources now to be able to reach that peak. Potential, we always talk about it. Now it's time for Grim to actually rise to that occasion. And Maui's right. He had a hot start in his first series. I think he had a 1.6 rating. The conviction that he showed in his entries, he had no doubt, no hesitation. And that sort of aim to be able to back up that sort of conviction, it's a deadly, deadly duo.
It really is indeed. And, you know, we talk about confidence a lot, and I feel like Liquid's even newer edition of Moses as a coach, you know, we were kind of talking about this. We were talking about him as a person and his ability to really instill confidence in people and really know how to give people feedback as well. So I'm wondering, Maui, how do you see him kind of fitting into this lineup?
Oh, Moses is the exact kind of leader that you would want for a team like Liquid, a coach behind them. I coached Grim briefly, and he's a humble kid. He's modest. He's a very hard worker, and he's incredibly dedicated. But sometimes the confidence hasn't always been there for him when he was especially meddling around the T2 scene. This kid was actually bounced one time from, he qualified for Pro League, and then they came in last place in Pro League. And then he kind of had a moment where he was trying to find himself as a player. Moses is going to help unlock this guy.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I feel like, we need to take a little bit of a look back on Liquid's matches to get them here so far. Obviously a 2-0 over ZPG, 2-0 over Chaos, and that was it. They took the easy route to get here. And although it's a kind of different tier of opponent, isn't it, Christine, compared to Liquid, were there any takeaways from those matches going forward that you think are going to be a good focus for this game?
Yeah, I guess the biggest question is going to be, is Liquid going to pick Inferno once again coming into here? I think they will. I think Grim is already looking really, really comfortable over towards that B on that T side and CT side of things. But other than that, for Liquid side of things, approaching this series, it's pretty cut and dry. There's not a lot of curveballs that they need to be worried about. It's really all about what TeamOne is going to do.
Well, we've been talking about him a lot, and this time we actually get to hear from the man himself. It's Grim ahead of this series.
It feels really good. I've never been in a semifinal before in a DreamHack or any really big events. Definitely feels nice to be here and looking forward to playing. The game against Chaos went pretty well. We had a good read of what they were doing most of the time, and it worked out really well for us. I only had a problem because it's my first time playing B on Mirage. There's definitely a learning curve with some of that, and I definitely need more practice to really protect this spot. But overall in Inferno, it was getting a little close. We were losing some, we were losing some T rounds, but we all stayed composed and kept the vibes up, and we really closed out from there. And I'm really proud that we all stayed composed and just stayed in the game, even though when it seemed bleak. I have to say that we have a pretty big chance of winning, I think, and I'm really looking forward to it because we have a lot more practice that we can do going into it. So we're going to iron out even more things and get even better. So I definitely think we have a pretty big chance of winning this event. So as a new player, I want to have a really good first impression and impact on the team. So my mentality is we're going to go in and we're going to win the entire thing no matter what.
I don't think Grim has to worry about any negative first impressions. He has impressed literally everybody in the scene. And speaking about that, the fact that he said this is his first semi-final at a DreamHack event, Maui, you were so correct. He is such a humble guy.
Yeah, the fact that he reflects on the fact that he's made it to this stage, out of the group stage for once. It's a new look for him. And the team that's around him is really helping propel him to this level of success. It's really exciting to see him work with Stewie primarily.
Well, moving over to the other side of the server, I think it's safe to say that nobody expected TeamOne to make it this far. They were the underdogs from the very beginning. And Christine, they weren't even meant to be here originally. Well, they didn't even make it through the qualifiers. So I think it's an understatement to say that they impressed us so far.
Definitely so. What a blessing that some of the teams pulled out for these youngsters to be able to prove themselves against some of the best teams, some of the best players in the world, and now they get to be able to go up against the likes of a Liquid. Now, I'm really excited for this just because, as I mentioned, that no fear style, I think these young guns have the aim to be able to back up that confidence in the server. So certainly they're going to be coming out swinging in full force, and I think it's a little bit unfortunate that Liquid's permaban is going to be trained coming straight into this series because we saw how effective Barton was on that map. So I'm hopeful to see Barton actually pulling out that secondary AWP across all the maps because he was so impactful with this sniper rifle.
Yeah, his impact was really unprecedented on that map. And Mao, you actually picked it up as, a moment to highlight earlier this morning in our pre-game segment. Is Barton going to be the man that you're keeping your eye on the most in this series?
Barton's definitely up there for me, but Mobs, their Guatemalan player, has been lighting it up with the rifles. He doesn't ever pick up that secondary, but he is still just so impressive. And if there was anyone that was going to go pound for pound against a team with that much firepower such as Liquid, I have to pick Mobs, actually. I think he can really throw a wrench in the works.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really important point to bring up, though. We've seen TeamOne really impressed so far. But, to be fair, this is a different caliber of opponent. And I think the firepower that we're talking about, Christine, do you think that TeamOne have enough to be going toe-to-toe with Liquid here?
Look, firepower-wise, yes. But the protocols, that's what's going to be the biggest issue here, is as soon as TeamOne go up against the huge wall that is Liquid. Because firepower, yeah, TeamOne has it, but Liquid have just as much of it. So that sort of depth, when TeamOne run into a small issue, one of their teammates gets picked off across the map, how do they regroup? What's their second step? Those kinds of issues is what's going to be the crux for TeamOne. But going into this, listen, if they get some momentum on their side, they win a swing round here or there, they keep Liquid's money really tight, the possibilities all of a sudden start going TeamOne's way. So it's going to be really up to TeamOne's individuals to come out on top during those swing rounds.
Well, we've been speaking about one of these individuals a lot, and I think it's time we hear from the man himself. It's Mobs ahead of this match.
Immediately falls onto Sonic.
In that game against Cloud9, it was awesome to play it. We were screaming and at the end of the rounds, and even though we had some close rounds, and in Overpass, we had some problems that we weren't like aware of some things that they were doing, like setups or flanks. But we managed to get it to overtime, and we couldn't close it in overtime. But in the other maps, we played a really good CS, and it popped off that took us a win. It's an awesome feeling because like I've never played this kind of tournaments. Like I could never make it out of qualifiers, and now being here and make it to the playoffs is just an awesome feeling, and I'm feeling really proud about myself and about my team. Of course, it's a really hard game because, as I said before, people like Green and Plus, K, they are like amazing players, really skilled individually. And what I gotta do is just prepare on myself to be on my highest level, like skilled, and also try to watch some demos and prepare better for the match so I can be aware of the things they do, and that's how I'm gonna try to win the match. I will say that we're on the lower chances because of their experience and firepower and stuff, but I'm not going on a negative way. We're always going for the win. But we're gonna prepare the best we can to beat Liquid.
Two truly humble men that we hear from before the game, both just very happy to be here, but now it's time for them to be stepping up. And I think we should talk about the map vetoes going into this, because, you know, Christine, you said it's unfortunate that we're probably not going to see TeamOne playing on Train, considering how well they did yesterday.
Yeah, so I wonder, is TeamOne going to pick out that Dust 2? Because that was their second map that they looked so fantastic on. But they might lean Mirage here because Liquid, we heard Grim talking about it, that B bomb site, it's brand new. So to start off, Liquid, they should be vetoing out that Train. TeamOne should be vetoing out that Vertigo. And Liquid, probably Inferno here.
Yeah, I guess this is what we expected up until now, but Maui, is this what you expected here?
Yeah, I think Christine hit the nail on the head with that map analysis, that TeamOne can't pick their favorites in Train, but they did look good on D2 against Cloud9 recently. And Liquid, this has just been their pick for the entire tournament. They knew that they could probably get Inferno against every single team here at DreamHack Open, and they're just sticking with it.
Well, yeah, we're going to be going with that decider of Nuke as well. So Dust 2, Inferno, and then potentially Nuke if we make it to a third. But I think that is really the question going forward, and I think we can sort of lead into our predictions from that. Is it going to go to a third? Who is going to be taking it here, Maui?
You just got to go with Liquid here. You got to go with Liquid here. Malbs, he's happy to be here. I know Grim's happy to be here too, but Malbs, this guy, I mean, just doesn't quite have the experience just yet. I feel like at this point, TeamOne, they got to just be honored to be in the semifinals against a team like Liquid. It's really impressive that they made it out of groups, but I think their journey ends here.
Oh, some savage words from you there, Mario. But I think it's really cool to pick up on Malbs as well, because, you know, I think people will forget he's actually a stand-in in inverted commas for this lineup at the moment, because he's replacing TRK, who ended up moving over to MIBR. And I remember we chatted about it, Christine, and he was saying, you know, actually the role fits me really, really well. So I'm wondering, where are you going to be siding on this one, Potter?
I have to stick with Liquid here as well. I'm crossing my fingers that TeamOne are able to make this competitive, but Liquid, they've got such a pedigree on that lineup. This should be pretty cut and dry for them.
Yeah, my heart and my head is torn, man. I love watching TeamOne play so much, especially after that close game against Cloud9. But I think that might be really it, you know? It was such a close game against Cloud9. I feel like Liquid, their firepower, the pound for pound aggression that they're going to be showing, I feel like they're going to be taking this one. So I am going to end up siding with Team Liquid. But I'm also interested to hear where Twitch chat is going to be lying on this one. It's going to be interesting to see which side they're going to be going with. 83% to Liquid, but 70%, you know, guys, these brilliant fans are showing up, aren't they?
Yeah, that's a little bit surprising. I figured it would be a little bit more lopsided in Liquid's favor, especially given we're on the English broadcast. But it's nice to see the fans from Team One come out.
It definitely is. I'm questioning though, do either of you think it's going to be going to that third?
Look, if it is going to go to a third, it has to be on Dust 2. This is Team One's map pick. We saw Pesa having a field day. He was so aggressive. I don't think Liquid is going to allow him to be quite as comfortable on the map as he was versus Cloud9. But Dust 2, this is where Team One need to make their stand.
Well, we're going to be finding out very shortly indeed. It's our last semi-final of the day, and it is shaping up to be a banger. It's time to find out who will be joining Furia in the grand finals this Sunday. Will it be the story of the underdogs, or will Liquid drown Team One's dreams? Find out after this.
The Brazilians in Furia have been crowned our first finalists, and now we need to figure out who will be their queen. It's either Team Liquid, with the recent additions of Grim and Moses, or of course Team One, the team that arguably should have never been here. Vince, it's gonna be a lopsided affair, I think. I think that's a fair expectation to go into the game with. But what I take solace in knowing is that our expectations with Team One have been blown out of the water before. There is no reason that they couldn't turn our heads here tonight.
100% agree with you, Scrawny. They're a team, I'll be completely honest. Coming into this, I thought they had zero hope. I didn't think they'd win a map. That's how little I had expectation-wise of Team One. They discussed it on the desk. They didn't even qualify. They got here because other teams couldn't make it. The fact they're already in the semis is unreal, and I also wonder if that gives them a slight edge in terms of mentality coming into this game. Liquid know the expectation is on. They know that they're the favorites to win this. Maybe that underdog mentality is really going to help Team One excel.
I think it could, but what worries me for their sake is that the being the favorites type mentality for Team Liquid is, I think, just plays right into them, man. This is a team that, like Furia, can crank the dial if they think they have an advantage in terms of firepower. And they do. From tip of the head to the toes, Vince, Team Liquid is the better team. I mean, we're going to have to see which pieces connect here tonight. Who offers up the highlights? Could it be Grim yet again? The first series of this event, he was phenomenal. And we know that he has teammates capable right behind him. In fact, Naf, 2 players back, just gets that opening kill. Stewie with 1 headshot, but it's PRT from the car, and a great flashbang has 3 heads turned away. He is still alive, but only for a moment longer. The glass just berating him. And Barton, who has been the star for Team One, looks to catch up here in the pistol, but he has taken now too much damage. Unless it is 3 crispy headshots to close out this pistol round retake 1v3 clutch, it is Team Liquid with the opening round on map 1. And okay, there's, oh my god, 2 and a chance, but Elise stops it. Holy hell, that came out of nowhere.
I could hear you were genuinely surprised at that. You're kind of just ramping things down to its conclusion, and then it's like, well, hold on a sec, he just landed 2 ridiculous headshots. How's that happened? But as he said, that flashbang on long, I actually thought that was going to be the round-winning moment for Team One. It hit 3 players. You could see them jumping up and down and just begging for mercy. Unfortunately, PRT missed a bunch of shots from Car. Still gets 2 in the round, but could have done better. Stewie 2K tags straight away. As 4 rifles put into place, the arsenal of weaponry is looking potent with the 1 SMG. They're going to trade out Stewie 2K, who took that early scout shot. Now throws his Galil across the NAF light, picking up the UMP. But Maluk, from this very position, we saw him do it yesterday. Actually, in the second round after losing the pistol round, he got 4 kills from this position, and he was an absolute nightmare. A real nuisance, and another shot connects onto a leash, softening them up for these pistols.
Team Liquid may not know just quite what they're up against just yet. You know, maybe taking a couple of risks could come with a price tag. Naf is dead, thanks to Pesa. The damage is done. thanks to Maluk. They do still have that cat presence. A liege on the front run. This is one of those rounds where I think Grim could come in and show us his value, because Liege and Stewie dying may not be much of a surprise, seeing as they're already tagged to sub 40 HP each. It's Grim and Twist that we know have a higher likelihood of surviving to the very end. Pesa gonna drop a deagle shot, takes damage down to 11, then Grim gets tagged up, body bagged on top of it. Twist is now incredibly low. Oh my goodness, TeamOne on the cusp of working with the force buy. Twist has a bomb in his hand as Barton goes soaring over, but oh, the USP tap into the eyes of Stewie. Now it's PRT, cutting it down, and a double deagle to close the second. TeamOne have kept this game competitive from the very start, and this is a huge force buy win to walk away with.
I echo the sentiments of what the desk said. When it comes to individual ability, there is no doubt in my mind from watching TeamOne that they are exceptionally good players. It's the strats. It's how is the teamwork in play. And no disrespect at all to Grim or Moses, but this might be one of the best times for this matchup to take place. When they're going through this transitional phase, we heard about some changes that were going on the Mirage B side. Maybe there's more changes on Dust 2 and other maps as well. And that aggressive, freeing mentality that TeamOne have could play into some issues for Liquid. Maluk again in middle, who started off the last round with scout shots, is connecting again. This time though, there's no armor to facilitate survival. You get hit by that scout in the chest, you are going down if you're Liquid. Somehow Grim survived on 1 HP. Just delaying the inevitable, it would seem, and TeamOne looking good to take the lead.
Interesting turn of affairs already. Scout shot versus Liege. Oh, okay. Deagle comes right back the other way. Barton, he's got a good chance at a multi-kill here. Takes down the one, but it's Twist and Stewie with just the pistols, starting to hand back damage to TeamOne. And let's be real. Anything TeamOne can do, Team Liquid should do better. So if we have to give the respect to the Brazilians for their force buys, then absolutely Team Liquid gets that same edge. But Twist, he gets aggressive, slips out through mid with Mobs right behind him. And down he goes. Just enough time for the defuse to come through. Actually, ample time for the defuse to come through. TeamOne close it, but it comes with a cost. You better get that M4 from mid. Ooh, and you'll walk away with it. At least one standing here for TeamOne. But obviously, cost effective for Liquid. With another bomb plant, they come in with the buy.
A real bruh moment if you're TeamOne, though, almost watching through their hands like a horror movie where his teammates really tried to clutch that, because such a low investment for Liquid and the economy of one is really in the balance. They are struggling to rummage together a buy. Liege could walk into this trap, though. PRT aggressive around the other side of the box. It goes unchecked, and Liege gets punished. That's an AK-47 trading hands, and Grim's just been tagged as well. Elsewhere from the scout of Maluk. Twist trying to remedy the scenario and avenge his fallen teammate, but he's burning alive. Has to use his smoke just to survive on the backside of lower tunnels. Twist and Naf now both dip in for frags, but Grim gets finished off by Maluk's scout shot with a HE. 3-play-3, and still plenty of time on the clock for Liquid to make some decisions. Maluk narrowly escaping death, and Twist missing his shot, then gets put down by Pesa on a catwalk push.
Back towards long they'll go. This is going to put the pressure on Pesa. Stewie and Naf running at him. Better have guns out. He's keeping his head back and forth here. He's a little bit uncertain as to where it's coming in from, but now they're already close on ramp. Pesa hiding behind the box, gets caught by Naf. He was just looking to catch the bomb carrier by surprise. Oh, the jumping scout shot from Maluk. That has to sting. And now Naf, he's looking for the clutch, but Maluk's, he's stuck in this position. Bomb's been thrown over towards the catwalk, which is perfect for Barton on the off. One shot to make the difference. One chance to take back the round. The Molotov hits the mark. Bomb's been picked back up. Nafly having an inkling as to where Barton's at, clearly with the utility, but he's gonna get swept away if he's not cautious. Connects some damage. Down to half health is Barton. scope back in, looking for the wall bang, doesn't quite connect, and Napple, he's taken off into a more aggressive angle, hanging on the side of the ledge, Vince, just welcoming Barton in so that he can shut him down.
I can't understate how good that off angle is for Nafly. He used the flashbang to facilitate the kind of retreat, and he's perched up on an angle that you're never anticipating a player to be stood in. If you think of it from an Opus perspective, you're checking behind the ramp first, behind the boxes, even Goose. Oh my God, Grim, get wrecked. Never had a hope of evading that bullet. And now Maluk, yeah, correct decision. Get the hell out of there. You've got the bloodshed you're looking for. Don't overstay your welcome. But yeah, that was so well played by Nafly. But can Liquid make the most of that? They've got the economy in really iffy shape. It is sketchy right now. They've lost the first player. Still loads of utility and firepower, of course. They should still be favorite to take it. But again, TeamOne showing that they have been underestimated so often. And now they are garnering respect. They are forcing their enemies to respect that this is a team that's not just here to make up the numbers. They are here to win.
Oh man, this is exciting. It's only 5 rounds deep, Vince. I'm grinning ear to ear. Flashbangs and smokes go over. Oh, they catch that movement. Poor PRT. His knapsack gave him away. Twist able to get to the bomb site, losing health inside the molly. He is dropped to 50. That could compromise him. Stewie with eyes just over the side of the smoke, unable to finish off Barton. Damage going both ways here. Pesa connecting another Deagle headshot. It's a man advantage up for the CT side. And Naf dies, standing out in the open. Elige in for the clutch. All 3 of the CTs over towards that ramp, and he's cutting down 2. Gets the 3rd to close. Elige with the ace.
Ooh, Liege, that was a beautiful clutch. Nearly a team ace for TeamOne. Additionally, everyone dipping in with Deagle frags, it would seem. But man, it just makes you think that if Elige isn't just firing at 100%, TeamOne pull that round out, and probably quite convincingly at the end. I cannot believe how close this has been, but surely now that TeamOne have just USPs and a P2000, this is where Liquid start to shift through the gears. They get out of that stalled beginning, and they start cruising down the highway in this first half.
You know, Vince, I know you're a skins nerd, so I'm going to use this round with just USPs to talk about it. You know the skeleton knife is the sickest knife in the game? When even Elige, the guy with no skins, owns one. It's all he's got. It's all he's got, Vince. It finally met his criteria.
The animations on it are absolutely sick. Just
pretty banging.
Flicking it around your fingers, like, yeah, I'm totally down. It is stupidly
like
expensive, though. Like,
oh, just, you know, just a couple grand, dude. Don't worry about it.
all in a day's work.
Yeah. Wait. Grim. He's going to have to pop some heads. Does so. Nailing the first 2 to the wall of elbow. Of course, this one just all too easy. There's not even flashbangs for the CTs to try and play with. And we've seen them do great work with little tools at their disposal. So I think that 5 alive here for Liquid is actually finally a bit of a sigh of relief. Like, whew, that one didn't need an ace to clutch. Good. 4-2 lead for Liquid on the T side of their opponent's map pick, but the buyback on the cards here for TeamOne. It's not going to feature Maluk's nasty scout peeking down mid. In fact, there's no snipers for either team.
That's a very good point, which is often certainly not the case on Dust 2. Flashbang out for the pop. PRT actually using it just to evade any potential aggression forthcoming from Liquid, which wasn't coming too quickly. So he would have been okay anyway, but couldn't take that risk, of course. You just got yourself assault rifles again after being in a bit of a loss streak. But the signs are there that Liquid are hungry. Elige, it's not that he's had a bad tournament by any stretch of the imagination. He's just typically not really been required. So now that a couple of his teammates aren't quite hitting the mark, this is where you're looking at Elige to take over.
Which is perfectly fine. You know, you save a secret weapon for the semifinals. You know, we have only had 2 best of 3s from Team Liquid. One to open up their group was just Grim completely dominating. I believe that being versus ZPG. Second match versus Chaos. Got close at times, but yeah, like you said, they never had to, you know, dive that deep into the talent pool. Here's Malbs off Cat with the good first frag, but it's traded immediately. Pesa looks to take his place, finds Twist on the side of the smoke. Shadow almost giving him a chance at another, but Maluk hot on the heels of the two Cat players as PRT sinks back into his spawn side by side with Barton. Eyes on Maluk. He's going to find the better of the timing had the smoke not been there. There's a little bit of a gap. Hard to work, but Naf makes that magic happen. His 8th kill of the map already. And the two counter-terrorists that were in the depths of which they came now maintain Little Cat control. Follow-up smoke, completely blocking them off. You have to feel for Maluk there, getting robbed of his chance at a kill, but PRT gets that frag close smoke. Now they're going to try and fancy the chance to push through, and Naf gives them just a bit of room to work. He's on the base of ramp, and PRT's on site. Alige from downtown gets that first kill. Barton tapping the bomb's going to try to draw him into the action, but Alige, he's keeping it cool. He's taking damage, though. And there it goes. Barton has to leave because time is of the essence. Alige's passiveness towards Long A, Vince, it's enough to get the round.
That's a bit of an odd decision from Maluk, wasn't it? Because it's, you know, if he tries to spray through that smoke, realizing he missed his chance, and you can see here, this is an Nafly play. That's a sick shot by him, by the way. But it was weird. If Maluk starts spraying through the smoke and he has teammates that are like Car or Long, and it draws the T's into this weird crossfire, I can understand. But his two teammates were behind him. You don't really gain anything from that. The chance of you landing a spray through that smoke is very, very low. You give your position away, and maybe that's just a bit of a desperation, like losing his clarity, losing his nerve in a really key moment in this game. Solid shot from Pesa with a deagle, but it is effectively just an eco. PRT with one, nearly lining up for a couple more, but it seems like Liquid have bypassed those potential traps, and now as long as they stick together, they should be good to take this round as well, albeit against Pesa, who does have Kevlar, and has now picked up that AK-47. So there are still lifelines, but that one's been cut short. Maluk on the flank. They may push A after getting the opening pick on there in this 2v3. But a P250 is all that he has, and he's now been Molotov'd out of position. So Liquid will be able to secure themselves a bomb plant. It really comes down to if maybe Maluk, if he can get into this ramp, bypass the Molotov, kill Stewie, he would have the AWP on top of that. But there's Nafly, stopping that in his tracks.
Absolutely. Just turning around to shut it down, as he did on Cat last round versus Maluk. I think you could also chalk up that moment from Maluk to being, I mean, we've all been there. When you know you have the chance to make a round-winning play, but it just slips by you, and yet you haven't convinced yourself yet that you have to let it slide to go into a different attempt. You think, oh, surely I can, and then you die because Naf just taps your head off through a smoke. So whatever the result, whatever the motivation, 2 rounds ago now, that Maluk was not able to prevent them from going up Cat. And there has been a consistency from Liquid towards this A site so far. We are at the start of the 9th round with a sniper in the hands of Stewie. Double up for Barton and Maluk. The affinity for the early A hold from TeamOne. This time, once more, welcoming them up the catwalk, trying to put them into the scope of Maluk as Pesa takes over mid-control for that second sniper. He doesn't feel too comfortable with the utility being shown there, Vince. He forfeits Cat, which again has been a part of the play to TeamOne's expectations since the start of this round. Do Team Liquid decide to follow through with this Cat control, or is the fact that it's so easily taken making them a bit too nervous to commit? They have a player still in tunnels and twists. He goes back, clears, makes sure there's no aggressive push, and the counter-terrorist doing nothing other than waiting for Liquid to arrive.
Which in turn is forcing Liquid to play each and every second allocated to them, maybe anticipating the aggression, that Brazilian aggression that we all know about as Grim jumps down into CT, and now it's going to be a slow wrap onto the B side, but it's going to have to pick up pace. PRT with the first, but now Nafly with one entry and make it 2. Has cracked open the B play, and there will be a post plant following it up with TeamOne not interested in potentially going for it. So there were certainly a couple of moments there, Connor, where I was a little bit nervous for Liquid, especially when Grim got shut down in the back, but it worked out okay for them in the end.
I think what helps out Team Liquid is the fact that Naf comes through that window and sees Barton, who's playing platform, a little too far forward. Had Barton had 5 steps back, he would have been completely covered in the corner. He could have just fixated over on tunnels to potentially kill Twists, or even let them into the site, deny the bomb plant, for example. You know, we were working with sub 10 seconds in those situations. Anything can happen. But because he's too far forward, Naf just executes him. Single shot to the side of the skull, and then sweeps through with the player beneath him at the base of the window. You'll see it here. Just like that. All the pressure then on Pesa. So a little disjointedness, in my humble opinion. Obviously, TeamOne with that kill from PRT. I keep going to call him Peter. Through the smoke in CT spawn, like that's what really gave them a chance. Because I think if you don't kill Grim, then there's not even a hope in hell. But they could have stopped it. Could have being the operative words, because of course they didn't. Team Liquid securing a 7th round. Securing tons of cash behind this momentum. A 5-round lead that's starting to make this CT side look like a bunch of chumps. But I'm not going to write them off, and therefore, neither should anybody tuning into this match, this second semifinal. TeamOne have given us reasons to believe throughout their tournament life already. A life that has just begun here in the first map of our BO3.
It is their choice of map, though, so they'll be erring on the side of caution. But I definitely echo your sentiment. Certainly, anyone that writes them off has not watched the games that have taken shape so far at DreamHack Summer. Meanwhile, Stewie tagged a little bit, but Barton already a casualty of war. Will be sitting on the sidelines. They still have a bunch of firepower at their disposal, though, TeamOne, all things considered. Another smoke onto CT, maybe looking to rinse and repeat, but just speed it up a little bit back onto that B wrap. Only Maluk is here. I say only, but he does have the AWP, and he's going to be up in a 1v1, but he misses the flick, and with his death, the B site may very well fall. You don't typically push an AWP outside of B if you have more players on there. It is a scouting play for a bit of aggression to stamp down authority, but Liquid have navigated their way past bullets into another post plant, into another round. Pesa could maybe thread the eye of the needle. Does it? Was a bit labored, but gets the damage done finally. And that'll be an AK in his hands momentarily. He can look to try and piece out of here and save the second assault rifle. Liquid, though, after a very topsy-turvy beginning to this game, Scrawny, they seem like they've finally stabilized, and this is more like the Liquid that we expected to see today.
Kind of what we anticipated with Furia versus Chaos as well, right? Like, we're going into each of these games knowing who our favorites are. The idea of a Team Liquid versus Furia finals, ooh, baby. But that is long ahead of us. Pesa keeps the AK, so the 2 rifles move through. That's really the best they could hope for. Watch this.
Jeez.
Yeah. Welcome to the big leagues. Naf, you are nasty. He is 12 kills, 5 deaths deep. 1 frag ahead of both Twist and Elige. Frag grenades get sent soaring over on long A. It's an immediate attempt from Team Liquid to take control of it. Naf, ooh, they get revenge for his dirty 1-tap last round. They go for the double peek over Xbox, kill him for free. He does 0 damage back the other way. So Team Liquid having to face a man disadvantage with, again, a pretty standard setup here for TeamOne. The only difference, as opposed to being a bit more passive on Catwalk, they are kind of flirting around here with Malbs and Maluk. Malbs, who opened up versus Naf, will just tuck in the staircase, presumably so that the Opera can give cover over his shoulder if he feels the time comes. But right now, because of the utility from Long, thanks to Grim, they're watching that more intently. And PRT actually only has himself to rely on. He goes down. Now, the man in the back of the B bomb site has a huge order ahead. Grim catching the mid-rotate. Barton, what can you make happen? Well, Maluk, he lends his op through the smoke to find Elige, and Barton, because he is not pressured from tunnels, gets it done. The 2 snipers of TeamOne with 4 frags in round 11.
Yeah, that kill from past the site through middle was massive. It alleviated a lot of the pressure. Yeah, we may see it momentarily, or perhaps not, but it was definitely a round-defining moment, because take nothing away from Barton, like his kills are huge, obviously, but nullifying that third player from pushing straight in stops Barton from being overwhelmed from multiple angles. So he can just sit in position and have a much easier go of it. So TeamOne, they get the third round. It's their first round in quite a while. Liquid, easy rebuy, of course, but double AWPs in play on TeamOne. And this is maybe where the lack of an out-and-out primary AWPer for Liquid sometimes may kind of become more noticeable, because on Dust 2, you typically want an AWP whenever you can possibly afford one. They had the choice. They decided against it.
Yeah, I can get you there. I can follow your grooves here, Vince, but we'll see, because they may just make quick work of this A site instead. They go back to Cat, which is where they very much began this map, constantly finding that footing onto the A site. But they are starting to lean towards B to close out the first 15. Twists the bomb carrier for the moment. Barton posted up close, as opposed to back on plat. He had his barrel posted. Almost, actually, hits that shot blind. Little smokes go up here in mid, and Alish finding the best of PRT. This is going to draw the attention of TeamOne's B players, and that could screw them over, because there's 4 guys coming in from tunnels. Pesa, he will allow Alish to cross and still catches it. Twist comes in as Stewie dies through him. But Grim will find that bomb plant, and it's a 3v2 in the post to the favor of Team Liquid. Vince, this sniper is too valuable and their cash too thin to really justify this retake attempt. What a stinging situation for the Brazilians to have to deal with. They need to let a 9th round slip.
It's brutal, isn't it? We're getting to that point now, Scrawny, though, that I don't think that necessarily... I think this is the cutoff point. I think after this, you have to start, you know, basically grinding up rounds. You've really got to try and hustle rounds, because if you keep saving, eventually you're looking at 10, 11 rounds. At what point do you say, okay, enough's enough, we actually have to start fighting for this? Because right now, this is a slow death. This is a death by 1,000 paper cuts that TeamOne are dealing with.
God, that sounds horrible.
Right?
In between your fingers.
Oh, worst feeling.
Ah! On your eyelids. We get that sniper out of Team Liquid. Stewie 2K gonna pick it up. Looking to pad the stats, perhaps. Molotov inside of long A doors. That's gonna turn the attention of Grim immediately, and they look to truck along towards mid. Haven't seen this yet. Little boost up from PRT. I do like the variety that Team Liquid have offered us on this T side. Long A fight, cat wraps. Last time with 4 guys out from tunnels on B. They get 2 guns popping off through mid. It's Stewie, he finds Pesa. That must have been over top of the smoke from Cat. Yep, exactly. Just found him trying to cower back into his corner of cover. Stewie on the board with the off. Naf's patience pays off, finding Malbs, who thought he could get a little adventurous, but curiosity killed the cat.
That curiosity may force TeamOne into more aggressive plays. Maluk, the classic angle with the AWP, has to turn tail and run. He misses his chance. 35 seconds coming up. Time becoming a bit of an issue as it erodes away into the back of Liquid's mind. They know that they have to start pressing forward. And it's a good read from TeamOne. They realize A site, the most likely outcome, the most likely endeavor, but outspill the terrorists, and they just swarm all over the CTs. Maluk's trying to hold himself. Nearly takes down Twist, which gave him a way forward, even though he was getting flanked. But it is now 10-3 on Dust 2. And TeamOne are getting the D2 at this point. They're going to call a tactical timeout and try and figure out what the hell to do next.
Yeah, their options limited by their money. Mob's got 7K, so maybe they can actually get into this with like a nice little armor deagle buy across the board. We've seen really nice deagle plays throughout all of the players of TeamOne, in my opinion. And you only have 2 rounds to account for, so the only thing you have to calculate, of course, is what you want to play in this limited one. Ooh, or maybe it won't be limited at all. Let's go all in. What's this include? An op drop by Mobs, thrown to Maluk. FAMAS, M4, MP9. We'll see if there's another weapon on the floor or if PRT has to work with the Deagle, but I put his name at the top of the list when it comes to Deagle headshots. So, okay, this is what they have to work with. I actually appreciate the priority for utilities. Stewie 2K lets a shot ring out. Off of that, Maluk tries to reposition here and find an angle. Let him shoot through mid all he wants. It's when he puts his head on catwalk, which is where Stewie was able to find his pick last round, that he could be in for a world of hurt. Flash goes back over. Maluk's going to try and establish that cat control. Sees Stewie, can't hit the flick. Stu gets the best of him. And now that second CT gets burned out of his position. So Team Liquid doing a good job of methodically dismantling this mid setup.
PRT, Mobs, gonna have to have some impact. Haven't quite had it this map so far, but Pacer has been consistently posting up the frags. And with his kill, Liquid have to respect the ability that TeamOne may very well hold on to this, but they've given up mid control entirely, and they're playing very deep on A long. So catwalk open, car open additionally, and they're going to go aggressive on both sides. TeamOne have felt claustrophobic this entire game, and now they're going to free themselves up. This does give A away, but if they get the timing correctly, maybe they can get up close enough to fend off this push. Stewie 2K caught. The bomb goes with him. Important kill from Nafly, but now he's encircled by CTs. The bomb is still down. This aggressive play, this flank, this rotation has paid out in dividends for Grim. Gonna try and cash in with more kills. It falls down to Twists. 13 seconds allocated. He will not have time to retrieve the bomb, go back and plant. And I think he's just realized it, so he has to press forward, and PRT has stood there with a Deagle. I love that decision from TeamOne.
Hell yeah, I do. Limited in the situation. Mobs makes the flank happen, and Naf, well, he stuck around here. He got that first kill, and then kind of had to stick around because, I mean, just grabbing bomb to turn your back. But look at the bomb placement. Technically, Vince, you know, it's not like Naf had to push any further. It's just he got kind of magnetized to the gunfight. TeamOne will happily take that one, despite it coming down to the wire. They're going to try to close this CT side with a 5th round. Once they take to the offense, they get to play their game. And we know the levels of aggression that they have weaponized already throughout this event. Maluk empty-handed off of the first shot. 3 points of health left over, but luckily for him, his teammates lock down long. And Maluk then turns attention, able to connect as TeamOne will close with 2 rounds at the end. Is it enough? Join us in a moment to find out.
Close the window, lock the door so we don't have nowhere to go. Feel the rhythm through your body. Let your soul out, I won't tell nobody. Yes, you feel the heat, such chemistry with your energy. It's feeling me. Is it really you? 'Cause it's real to me. Oh, so please don't stop. Till I drown in the sky. Forget my impulse, I just like you. It's not often a stranger gets me this high. I'm in limbo, trapped inside you, and I'm not coming out. You feel the heat, such chemistry with your energy.
if you're willing to write off TeamOne, then you go ahead and do it. But I very vividly remember when they were down 3-10 versus Cloud9 on Overpass on a CT side that looked like it had no life left. They closed the half with 2 rounds in the exact same fashion that they just did, and that map went to overtime. Maybe I'm getting a little too excited. Maybe I'm getting a little too ahead of myself. But all I'm trying to say to you is that TeamOne have fought back from worse situations. They have their hands full with a very hot Team Liquid for the moment. But this first map's not over.
It certainly is not. And this second pistol could give us a good indication as to where it may be coming down. Liquid get this. They're in pole position. Grim missing out on a few shots. Flashbang is good. Barton gets the second. That's B side open. Maluk gets overwhelmed though. All 3 of the CTs now pushing and piercing together to try and retake the site, but that's a good smoke. That forces them back. They're going to keep Twists in close proximity and then charge Elige and Naflight back over through middle towards window. That flick would have been disgusting if it connected, but was just narrowly off. Elige has the right idea. But Molb's playing this one intelligently, just staring at the ground, peeks up, smacks Naflight. Reverse game of whack-a-mole, and now Molb's going to be able to put down the damage with Barton. TeamOne do convert the pistol, and the game well and truly back on.
Molbs, man, 3K, big one. This tap, whoo, hello. And then the follow-up frag, same position, just slides out into Elige. So TeamOne, they take that second pistol, they win it out. Now they need to avoid losing to the force buy in the follow-up. It would not be the first time this event they've been the victim of such a situation. We saw Maluk with some nasty scout damage in mid when they were on the CT side, and Naf looks to replicate exactly that. Other than him, it's Elige with the MP9. Everybody else just pistols. Got a man in pit, or so he was. Twists tries to move back at the exact moment that TeamOne come barreling out from long doors. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 players all charging him down. So he was doomed. However, their 5th man's a little bit disconnected for the time being. They know their flank is clear. Naf, he's going to try to take the boost up, but a little bit delayed, and the Molotov lands right on him. Molbs and Barton with headshots each. Leaves just Grim and Naf. Grim's going to underhand the flash, try to push past, and he comes up empty-handed. An excellent conversion point from TeamOne. Not a single casualty against them. Leans them into the double MAC-10 setup. And I'm looking at that T-side spawn thinking, rush B?
I think they might be joining you in that thought because they have a ton of great B spawns and they have 2 MAC-10s to push behind. The fact that Bomb's not going with them suggests it might not be a B hit and more of a tunnel control sort of round here. There's a couple Deagles and a Zeus in play. Fairly centralized defense, using that smoke as a bit of cover. Elige hiding behind there. Slight gap in the smoke and converts with a brisk, spicy headshot onto Maluk. They can't take his weapon down, but Twists may see the next point, but he jumps. He decides to hop up. That gives the information across to Barton, who is maybe thinking about pushing through middle, and now he's decided against that.
Curious situation. Barton's still kind of close to it all. Naf just keeping eyes on tunnel from mid in case things go south versus these unarmored pistols. It's going to be 4 CTs trying to fight this on the other side. Rifles making mincemeat of that CT stack. There is nobody on the flank, and the grenade blows Twists into tomorrow. So Elige, who started it all, is the last man standing. Bit of damage versus 2 of the members of TeamOne, but Molbs up close will fall. And now that's an AK upgrade, but Pace's patience pays off as TeamOne find their 8th. Now within 2, but of course, this was what we were waiting for. It's the gun rounds of TeamOne versus the rifles of Team Liquid. Op on Stewie. Elige, a little late on the buy. Grenades look good. There's just that one kit, and the lack of helmets won't matter unless those sidearms come out.
Flash is good, but so is the incendiary. Ends a bit of a stalemate. See what Maluk was going for, gets countered. But with that, long control established, and a hotbed of plenty of flashbangs, I'm sure, in future rounds, is going to call or fall silent for now. The call now comes through that they want to take a bit of late control, but Nafly and Twist in good positions to stop this. Twist hopping up, knows a player behind the blue container. Will call to the rest of his teammates, and now this 3 players strong. Molly towards the backside. Twist needs to be careful. Bypassing that second Molly goes in. Lots of utility expended just to deal with Twist, and he's still alive, but that smoke is going to allow them to fully focus him down. Well played, Team1. They get the opening pick, and they still have a minute to play with.
Oh, Stewie catches him trying to get into the pit. Damage going both ways. Stewie, he's going to get pinched. He knows it. Calls out Mob's position. Re-peek successfully. And Grim gets a kill to the board as well. Stewie standing up with the sniper. And those were aggressive re-peeks. Arguably not needed. But he felt he could take control of the situation, and he absolutely does. He stands up and delivers on a promise he had to make happen. If he dies there, he opens that A site wide for the taking. PRT trying to connect one through smoke, has 20 seconds left.
Oh, not far off at all, but he's about to get still connects on to Grim. There's only 12 seconds though. The round's over. Can he take down more players? Can he keep that economy brutalized on the CT side? It's already struggling, by the way, even without taking his third kill. So, and it's a bit of a rough situation for Liquid, but they do get the round. And I echo your statements entirely. This round from Stewie, as we're about to see, this shot here is a 4v5. If Maluk gets into pit, he has the AWP, and it's going to be very difficult for him to hold on to the site with. And as you can see, every single time Stewie lands a frag, he's basically alone with his back against the wall on A. If he falls at any point there, A site is taken. Huge round from Stewie.
Fires burn themselves out and start walking over onto long. They've been able to challenge Twist successfully on this position. They're going to try it again. Flash through for Maluk. 3T is about to pounce. Twist is holding the angle, but he is also more passively back, so he can slip out. Thing is if they just walk up on him, he's not going to know for certain how many or when exactly they try to hit him. Mid completely open for the taking. Radar would make you think this is a 4v5, but on Stewie, or rather under Stewie, was a Liege. Now they go ahead and smoke off Catwalk, looking to make plays as Team1 finally decide to commit to pushing out the long doors. Twist hears those footsteps get close. He decides to hide. That's going to put Stewie now primed, and he hits his shot. Down goes Maluk, just trying to get that op into the pit so that he could give cover on the A site. But obviously the bomb has other intentions. It sits comfortably outside B. It's Grim's MP9 up close, Naf with a FAMAS. This is the lesser weapons for Team Liquid, but they do also have 2 players close mid. Can Grim shut it down? He gets himself the first, an assist thanks to Naf, and Elige goes through the smoke to shut down the play entirely. Mobs tries to find something in mid, but Vince, it is calculated and completely closed on that B bomb site. Grim hanging on next to the tunnels, dealing substantial damage despite the lesser weapons.
Yeah, cold and callous and collected kills. Grim, excellent work alongside Naf. Team1 didn't give them much room for error. Stewie 2K does get tagged on the cross, but then answers back. And whereas he was tagged by a scout, he comes out with the AWP aggression from Maluk as he steamrolls over the weakened Stewie. But he's alone. So Liquid going to maintain that player advantage. Team1, this is maybe where they do dip into more of those desperation pushes and just try and really take Liquid out of their comfort zone. Good grenade tossed in. Mobs taking the brunt of that, shielding the rest of his teammates. Drive by Deagle is good, but there's going to be no second. Twist holds on. He's fine with pulling back. We've got to that stage in the game now with round loss bonus where they don't care about conceding bomb plants. It's all about keeping enough players alive for the retake. There's going to be an AK trading hands. That's a significant power boost and power spike to the T's. Twist, that first headshot is sublime. Just a double tap round the corner, transitions into the spray, transitions into a 13th round.
Grim throwing some nice flashbangs, bringing more than just firepower to this lineup, it seems. Slotting right in with the teamwork already. And yes, that was clean by Twists. Finally, he gets a chance, Vince. As opposed to getting gunned down from like a prioritized long play, he just gets to walk away from the cat push and then come back for second servings. Double dips into the ramp. 3 kills in the round for him, 13 rounds for Team Liquid. So leading by 5. And just shy of the finish here on their opponent's map choice. 4 men for TeamOne stacked up outside tunnels. We haven't seen Grim kind of take over the show, but this could be the round where he offers up his individual skills. Gives us the highlight reel 4K spray. Or maybe even the ace, because everybody for TeamOne has now collected themselves outside of the tunnels. And Grim, oh, that Molotov's not going to quite spread. He is in the corner. He's gone unchecked, but he starts to fire off. Damage into the back line. The gun goes dry, and the USP just won't be enough. A bit of a scattered situation. He gets scared, and I don't blame him. The fact that he goes unchecked means he does way more than he ever should have. The T's could have so quickly killed him. But it's a 3v3 regardless. And Elige, his Molotov's actually going to prevent him and his teammate from coming in for the fast retake attempt. They've got a smoke and a flash left over on Elige. And now he's smoked them off too. So this flash better be fantastic. But Pesa, he's doing damage through it all. And Elige comes out regardless. Maltz tries to give that bit of a chase needed, and he nails it. Stewie 2K walks away. A 9th round for TeamOne.
Stewie looking for exits, gonna get it done. That keeps the economy in shape, in check. And with this saved up, they should be able to buy again. Twist's going to be in a bit of a rough situation. Actually, their economy not as good as I was anticipating, so they may call a timeout just to figure out what to do next. But yeah, this is one of those plays from Grim. Getting 2 kills is actually really solid. But I feel like if we fast forward time to 6, 8, maybe 12 months from now, that's a play that Grim is probably a little bit more calculated on. I think he snatched at that a little bit, and maybe it comes back to the fact that, look, listen, this guy's had a meteoric rise. In his own words, this is the first time he's been to a semi-finals in a tournament of this size. This is a young guy. This is a guy that doesn't quite have the experience of the likes of a Stewie or a Naflight or an Elige. And so you do have to give him a little bit more leeway. He's going to build into this. He's only going to get better in these situations.
I also think he has to go for it because I don't know if he anticipated or intentionally shot off, but he shot 2 bullets by way of one tap when he was kind of tracing that first player out because it looked like he was going to immediately shoot. He shoots 1 or 2 bullets and then realizes, wait, they're not checking me? And then he has to go for the spray, but by that point, he's lost the player inside of the smoke next to the Humvee, and there's guys to his right very clearly in the middle of his screen, so anybody would have shat their pants in that situation. I think you're spot on, Vince. Give him a bit more time. Barton, 2 headshots immediately here, just making quick work of the pistoleros for Team Liquid. TeamOne trying to avoid that op in Stewie. And Stu, well, he does pretty good damage. I know, was that him? I'm sorry, I lost track of it all. Somebody lined up 2 players on long A and very well could have gotten some opening kills. It's either a Deagle or I thought it was the op because so much damage was done. But regardless, excuse my slow eyes, Vince. Shit, I think we might both be boomers.
It's that moment when you wake up one day and say, am I a boomer now?
Yeah.
Yep. Today's that day for Scrawny. Welcome to the club.
I can feel it in my knees.
Yep. The only thing we do in this club is play bingo. That's pretty much it. And sometimes commentate.
Oh, Vince. TeamOne have a very real chance now to close this gap and make this first map interesting. They've given us rounds, you know. I've seen the highlights. I've seen the glimmer of hope. And because of that lackluster cash for Team Liquid, the glimmer is starting to break through the shroud of clouds. Utility for the hard entry onto the B site. Naf and Grim again. Grim's up close. Naf's on plat. He's fully flashed. And neither of them have actually started shooting. Grim, this is his chance. And he goes big. 3 kills off the 5-7. You said give him a year. Maybe just give him 3 more rounds. He does it with the sidearm and nearly now takes the 14th for Liquid, but it's going to have to come in from the clutch off Twists. A low Barton, and the loop honed in on the op. He walks right into the AK. Oh, what could have been.
There's not a shred of panic this time. Grim was feeling it. And maybe that's why Steel said he is the human aimbot. I was actually watching Steel's stream the other day, and they were playing FPL. Some of the shots Grim was landing were absolutely insane.
They're nuts.
Yeah, he's just incredible aim-wise. And so once that experience comes in, and this is a real player to watch out for, I think. I reckon Liquid have picked up an absolute phenom.
Crucial round here, this 25th. It's either Team Liquid getting themselves one away from securing the golden 15th, or TeamOne continuing to chew away at that lead. All the money on the line here for Liquid. Gonna follow up the first smoke with a second volley. Naf through the doors of the B-bomb site, trying not to die. That's substantial damage from Elige, and he's just gonna run right through this. He's gonna screw over TeamOne. Two backs turn to Elige, and it costs them. Grim, in the meantime, has just kept them at bay in tunnels as well. And he may just actually get activated here. He's on the top rope, and he just RKOs two players to the name of Grim for Liquid's 14th round.
Oh, Leash, that aggression. Fighting fire with fire. Grim perched up in a different position he's not used yet, catching TeamOne off guard. They're going to call a tactical timeout. And as Christina's Potter said on the desk segment, if this is going to go to our third decisive nuke, TeamOne have got to win Dust 2. I don't think many people give them much of a hope on Inferno. So this has to be it for most people. I'm not going to completely write them off Inferno, don't get me wrong, but I think there's a much better chance of them getting a result from here than there is there. So what do you have up your sleeve, TeamOne? Now it's time to put all the chips on the table.
Completely mirror your sentiment here, Vince. You know, we kind of got the same thing versus Furia. It's like, oh, look, TeamOne, they put up a fight on their map pick, but they lost. Going into Mirage, we had zero expectations of a TeamOne upset, and they broke that Furia winning streak. It was stunning to see them actually take it to a third by picking up their opponent's map choice. Same could happen here. Again, unlikely. Absolutely unlikely. But we know at least the individual levels of TeamOne today, yet again, can provide. And Team Liquid, the respect for their opponents should be soaring. They've gotten the better of TeamOne in the most crucial of rounds. Elige, I can't believe the damage he found. Stop that. Sorry, man, my cat.
Understandable. Mine's a nightmare. She keeps running around all the time.
Yeah, well, dinner's coming up. You know what I'm saying?
TeamOne going to be looking to cash in on their force fight. Kind of had to be honest. Time is running out in terms of rounds. 50 seconds. This round still has a little bit more time to give. Molotov to the backside of the doors, forcing out any of those pesky close angles, but no one's home. Grim is playing a different angle again, mixing it up. Waiting and anticipating that B-Rap coming into play. They're going to be any flashbangs preceding the push? No. And Grim nearly lines them up for a double. Peeking from that fly gets punished. 25 seconds to go, and all the B defenders have been dealt with, and they've been put down. There's also PRT that's waiting for that flank to come in with a deagle. And so a pretty poor buy overall from TeamOne. Looks like it is going to yield the round in Liquid. They want no part in this. They're pulling back to save.
So TeamOne take a 12th. Very clean affair as well. Just that kill on mid, and then the second on the window. Team Liquid going to that A site with numbers, comes back to haunt them. At least for this round. Oh, dude, this is actually key as well because the money's not great for Liquid. So if they lose another one with nobody surviving, then they're gonna have to bottom out the bank accounts. TeamOne could easily tie this at 14. Ooh. This is the makings of a 30-round game, Vince.
It is completely alongside of you, that. And again, TeamOne, how many people in chat, how many people that are CS fans that maybe haven't caught much of them this tournament, but it came into this game thinking, Yeah, they probably get like 4 or 5 rounds on Dust 2. And yet here we are, taking Liquid to their limit, taking them the distance almost. And Liquid, if they concede this round, TeamOne will be in great shape to get a minimum of 14-14. Nafly tagged on the cross. Maluk has consistently put down the damage when it comes to these crosses.
Tough spot for the long hold. Twists in the tightest of corners. Stewie on the op posted. Dies to Maluk's sniper first and foremost. It's Twist's turn to come in big. And he gets himself the first 2 frags. That at least keeps things even. Oh, but Alish, he tries to peek, and Maluk, his patience pays off. Pesa 100% just heard this rotate through CT spawn. He tries to peek, but Grim, he shut that one down. And TeamOne, they were contemplating a rock back towards spawn. Naf, he is going to have to come in clutch. It's PRT on the other side, the shadow, but the gun swap. The gun swap costs him, and Team Liquid, of all the rounds, take 15th like that. Oh,
mate. That must feel like he's just been uppercutted.
He saw the shadow.
Yeah, as he was switching. I can only assume, was he like switching for a nade for the cross? Maybe realizing there's only one smoke down there?
Yeah,
but
we're trying to...
like the audacity to push that smoke in the first place. He was the first player that got tagged, remember? He got up through the doors from Maluk. And so maybe he felt as if he had to get that timing peak. Otherwise, in an kind of an incursion at range, he'd probably die, right? So...
Naf, that's what Naf does. Naf doesn't care. Naf doesn't care. The weight of the game, the stakes, it doesn't matter. Naf's gonna do what he thinks is best. And at that moment, he thought it was smart to walk through smoke, and he was absolutely rewarded. Did it also happen because that last T is fumbling his grenades? Yes, that's a part of it. But Naf is looking to catch him off guard. And that is the most evident fact. He was not ready for the smoke walkout. And in classic Naf fashion, peeks out from under the covers, takes that 15th round and crawls back underneath the bed. Scurries off. And TeamOne now, from what was a slowly ramping comeback, as we have seen across so many maps in this event from them, they never go down without a fight, regardless of how lopsided things once looked. This was a 10-3 lead to Liquid on the T side. And TeamOne have found themselves in a position to have 3 rounds to tie, rather. Alish, he's going to have a lot of players trying to push past him, cuts down the second, but Maluk with the scout of all things. Stewie gets into just enough cover, and Naf looking to strike from behind. Takes the headshot versus Maluk. Stewie, not wanting to kill his teammate, gets cover from Twist. 4 versus 2 situation. Malbs, he's still playing with just the pistol. Pesa looking for the headshots on Cat. Shut down by Naf. And Team Liquid take map 1. 16 rounds to 12.
Man, TeamOne, what a performance. Even though they do concede on their choice of map, going above and beyond really any expectations. As you say, they're going to be victors, Liquid, and now they move to Inferno. And for me, I think TeamOne may have just missed their window. Scrawny, I do fear the worst for them. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping we go to Nuke.
Sure. I think that there's merit to be given across both teams here, right? Team Liquid, they survived over Dust 2, which has been TeamOne's bread and butter. But TeamOne have earned our respect in getting this far. And so I don't think it's right to write them off just yet. We will see what they have in store for us on Inferno after the break, after the analysts unpack Dust 2.
A valiant effort from TeamOne, but against Liquid, it just wasn't enough. Dust2 falls out of the Brazilians' hands as the North American Giants clean it up 16-12. But Christine, TeamOne, they took it down to the wire. They closed that initial gap, and although they didn't win, I feel like they no doubt proved why they deserve this place in the semifinals.
Oh, they absolutely did. And not only did they make this close, but each round, if you took a look at Liquid's money, it was pretty tight. I believe even towards the end of this game, the highest money was maybe 3K or so. So certainly TeamOne, they brought that fire. Man, those first few rounds, it was back and forth, neck and neck. TeamOne making those low buys almost work out in their favor. And one interesting thing that I noticed about Liquid as well on their T side of things is they approached that second round buy pretty conservatively. I wonder if that's Moses's influence coming in here through, because we know right now if you get that plant down, you get a few kills on your pistol round, immediately you're gonna buy those AKs, you're gonna have those Galils in hand. But actually this conservative approach, it netted Liquid 7 rounds in a row after they gave up that initial 2 because they had such a good cushion. Because as I mentioned, TeamOne, they made their money close.
Yeah, they did indeed. And just looking at that scoreboard there, look how even the kills are distributed across the side of Team Liquid. Maui, this is what we were talking about, that individual firepower coming up. But interestingly, I feel like Grim, you know, he had a particularly slow start to this series, but he really showed up in that second half and when it mattered the most.
Oh yeah, Grim just loves when people have to approach him. He is a killer. If you have to take space away from Grim, good luck is all I can say to you.
Well, you got a particular moment that you wanted to pick up, and I believe this is from the side of Team1, interestingly.
Yeah, so, all right, let's get into this. Stats Helix right here, and this is just kind of showing the surprising level of depth. We're going to watch PRT back here. Oh, shoot, I'm sorry, I clicked at him. He throws this deep smoke all the way up to the catwalk right here, but it actually misses the mark. This is supposed to land right at the bricks right there, and Mobs and Pesa realize that. They see the smoke, and they actually don't approach forward. And this is where it gets interesting. A lot of teams at the tier 2 level would probably just say, screw it, we're just going to send it anyways, we're still going to work with the strategy. But no, actually, TeamOne, they slow the round down, they have a plan B, and this is something that we didn't really necessarily expect from TeamOne, that they just kind of can slow the round down here. We can see that about a minute later, they were hoping they would get some kind of pick, and then they just decide, okay, let's try to find some advantage somewhere. They come out middle here with the fight onto Grim, Maluk, and Barton with a little bit of a two-man game, kind of faking the mid to B. You can see that they were actually going to go for an A play with their player set up for a cat and long split, but actually things go better than expected, and Maluk, he gets 2 kills from this angle, and then TeamOne is able to reroute towards B, and they're quickly able to take that bomb site. And this to me just kind of showed that, you know, this TeamOne side, we knew that they were coming in a little bit scrappy. They're using a stand-in. Mobs is technically, I don't think, signed on the roster yet. He's replacing PRK, but they actually, they don't have to just send it against a team like Liquid. They think they can slow the game down. They think that they can just work around the map and the server, and the game isn't moving too fast for them. And I think that's something that is really just impressive with this team. You just think that they're a bunch of fast-playing, aggressive players, but as a matter of fact, there's a rhyme and a reason to how they're playing around the map.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. You know, it's not just one plan going into it. They can adapt as well. But that's actually something I kind of want to touch on. I was literally just speaking with Scrawny, and we were talking about the fact that if you look back at most of TeamOne's previous games here, the fact that they're not getting so many rounds in the beginning, I feel like that's got to be something they're focusing on Inferno, Christine.
Yeah, definitely so, especially as the underdog, to give yourself that sort of a cushion. They're certainly going to need it going into this Inferno, starting on the T side of things. It would be the dream scenario if they're able to pick up that pistol round, make those anti-ecos as clean as possible, and have that sort of momentum getting into the game.
Well, that's going to be the big question going into it. Inferno is up next, and we can see if TeamOne can make a comeback after this.